Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
You have failed this city.
Wow. I know, right?
Welcome, a man.
Get you the right. What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
But that is being human.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Watchtower, where we talk all things DC. I am Slav, part of Slav's Free Talk podcast and YouTube channel. I'm glad you can all join me on this lovely, lovely Friday night. And believe it or not, I do have somebody with me. Can you guess who it is? Can you possibly guess who it is? It is none other than James Gunn is DC Savior. No, it is Derpy. Derpy's here with me. What's going on, guys?
What's going on? How we doing, Slav?
I'm doing well. Look, I switched back over to StreamYard to see if that's going to fix the issues that I've been having, because I am planning on doing something. I'm going to be collaborating with people a lot more here in the near future. And the other thing that I was using just isn't working like I wanted to. So to see if StreamYard was going to be better than what the other service was. So that's why things look and maybe will be running slightly different today. But how's it going? How's your Friday?
I just got home from a football game. We won. So here I am.
Nice. All right. Who do we got here so far today? We got Trayvon says, I'm sorry, but I got to say anyone who says any of the 2025 MCU movies is better than Superman are full of it. They're good, except Brave New World. But compared to Superman, they're grade A horse crap. Chris says, hey, Slav, everyone. What's going on? Trayvon's just freaking out about Superman, DC punk rocker for life. Like,
yes.
Man, you love it. I get it. Let's see. Trayvon says Superman is Shake Shack, and the 3 MCU movies of 2025 are Wendy's, Burger King, and McDonald's is in that order. Dribble. I am sure you know who I am, but don't say it if you know, but won't say it on chat for obvious reasons. No problem, Draybell. I will not say it. No, I don't know who you are, but welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Donovan Martin, crazy how many people are overblowing the message director commentary. Well, we are actually going to talk about that today. So yes, we will talk about that. Critic Chris says, could you add Reeves Superman closing flying into your intro? I was thinking about putting some more, because that is a work in progress. I'm going to add and adapt and continue doing different things with it as time goes on. I put Eagly in there. I have Michael Keaton's Batman from The Flash. I have, I added Superman images from the current Superman recently. So, there's a lot of things that I've been adding as time goes on. I have a lot of Snyderverse in there and DCEU things. I kind of want to cut that down, not because I don't like the Snyderverse or DCEU stuff. I just want to get a broad of the DC as a whole. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, I'll probably find a way to put different things in there, from whether it's the Reeve Superman or even Smallville or things like that. Like I will adapt and change it over time. I just don't want to do it constantly, because then it gets it's very tedious. It's not, doing it. Like I have to do it in a way where it fits the music and the way it works. And, otherwise I'm going to have to change the whole thing. So that's all. But yeah, I will be changing it up for sure. Let's see. Dre Bell says, I am one of the Ray people, and obviously not Chris. This channel is fake. No problem, Dre Bell. And yeah, that I don't know if you guys got a chance to
What?
see. There was a YouTuber by the name of Ray. I can't remember what her full name is. I apologize. Dre Bell, if you know her whole thing, you can even share the link to her channel in the comments here for sure, because she went off on Aaron Fisher yesterday, and for 3 hours on a live show, went off on Aaron Fisher. And I was in the chat for most of it. And
That must have been enjoyable.
made some friends with some people over there. It was a very interesting stream. But yeah, definitely go check her out. She does some interesting work. She isn't a big movie buff, but definitely go check out that stream if you can. And she's actually going to go. I think people are trying to push her into going and calling out some of the other Snyder cultists as well. I'm not going to say she's not a big movie buff, because she does like movies. She likes Superman. She likes some of the Snyder stuff, but she's annoyed with the Snyder cultists is basically what it is.
Gotcha.
Donovan says Peacemaker is getting insane. Indeed. Trayvon, 2 times in theater, 6 times on HBO Max. To say I love Superman is the understatement of the century. Yes, indeed. Trayvon says 3 hours. That's dedication. And
That
it was
is dedication.
not only was it dedicated, but it was all enjoyable. I was cracking up.
Do you
I
have
was just
footage or
cracking up
clips
the
of
whole
it?
time.
Do you have footage or clips of it?
I should do some. I don't know. It's kind of tough because she doesn't really show her face. It's just a still image. So it's really hard to do some clips, but it is hilarious. Critic Chris says I watched that stream yesterday. I didn't expect it, but appreciated the support. Indeed, yeah, there's a lot of support for Critic Chris and for what's his name? I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry.
Trey?
Yeah, but you know who it is. So yeah, definitely support for a couple people who are getting called out by Aaron Fisher right now. So it was Johnny Dome. Thank you, Trayvon. Johnny Dome. Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the
fun part.
Yeah, I gotta actually do this. Stop screen share, present, share screen. Don't show tips again because I've done this before. And I am going to do this. All right. It didn't pull up. Why did you not pull up? There we go. All right. So Superman came out on physical media the other day, and that was exciting. Woohoo. But along with it came director's commentary. And specifically this little bit where James was talking about the message from Jor-El and his mother about what his mission is for going to Earth and the planet really was. And there was a lot of controversy around it when the movie came out, and it kind of got drummed back up because James Gunn talked about it in the commentary. So I want to touch on this here. I want to talk about it here because it is very, very interesting. And I want to discuss it. I'm going to stop it there. I'll continue in a second. But I like how he mentions, like, it's not always been the case in the comics and in lore that his parents have just been, hey, benevolent, just been like, hey, go, you're the hope of this world. You go do great things. It's not how it's always been. So he wanted to go in a different direction, and that's okay. Again, people, they want to make James Gunn to be this bad guy because he doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea how to write stories or do this. And they grab onto something that's different, something that they don't necessarily like, or they're afraid to like it because it's not normal. And they go, look, bad, not good. And they freak out about it.
Agreed.
But when he sits here and talks about it, well, it makes sense. Now, the one thing that I've heard is people will sit here and say, well, this is just like how people were criticizing what Zack Snyder was doing with the Snyderverse when they didn't understand XYZ or didn't understand this or didn't like BVS. I can understand that. Yes, I can understand that to a certain degree because BVS, a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't fully grasp what Snyder was doing with the story. But here's the thing. a lot of people didn't grasp what he was doing with the story because the story wasn't fully told. And a lot of people didn't grasp what he was doing with the story until he started saying, well, I have an idea to do this and do this and do this and then do this and then do this. And then that's when people started to get excited about the full Snyderverse. A lot of the people that liked BVS and were excited about it before he started mentioning things really just liked it because it was hardcore. It was more action. It was an interesting story, but it was not fully thought out. It wasn't fully, it was just like, oh man, this is cool. Look how dark and grim this is compared to the MCU. So, when you sit down and think about it, it's like people. Yes, people can have opinions and not like something because it's different and not like it because it strays from the comics. People can absolutely have that opinion. But the reason why people are doing it now with Superman is simply because they want to find a reason to hate James Gunn. Whereas back in 2016 or in 2013 with Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, it was more along the lines of people were saying, look, I don't like this because this isn't for me. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like the way this is going. I don't like the story. I think it was disjointed. I don't like this. It wasn't because they were sitting there saying, I don't like Zack Snyder. I hate Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's a hack. Yeah, there was absolutely some people doing that, but that wasn't the majority. Like the majority of the people were sitting here saying, oh, what James Gunn is doing is terrible and he's a hack. And that's the difference. That's really what it comes down to. You have anything to add?
I think you hit the nail, so let's continue.
All right. Enough. That's exactly what Zack Snyder did, and Christopher Nolan did, and David Goyer did in Man of Steel, just in a different way.
Just in a different way, yep.
Like, they wanted him to be the savior of Earth. They wanted him to continue the Kryptonian heritage, just they didn't want him to create a harem and be this overlord. No, they wanted him to go and obviously he would start a family and that would, continue the heritage of the Kryptonians and such. But that's pretty much what they wanted him to do. And that's pretty much what every iteration wants him to do. There's just a slight difference in the idea and how Jor-El wants him to do that. And that's okay because this story in particular is about his humanity on Earth and how he was raised on Earth, not this perceived idea of I was born to be something special. No, he was raised a certain way. And because he was raised that way, he was raised to be a certain way. And that is what makes this story so special compared to other stories where it's, oh, I was born and sent to be this. Whereas, no, I have a choice to be, and that's the difference. Exactly what I said. But I mean, that's the gist of it. People were mad because he said earlier on, he wanted to keep the important stuff of who Superman is. The hair, spit curl in the hair, his love for Lois, that kind of stuff. He wanted to keep that stuff, and he felt that changing the lore of the parents was something of his birth parents was something that could be changed, and it absolutely can be changed because it is more important to show that Superman is able to make this choice. It is his choice to be the savior of this planet. It is his choice and his upbringing that is what has made him who he is. And that's why I think it's important. Could they do it in a different way? Absolutely. But this makes it a little more intriguing. That gives you the little twist. Is it important for Jor-El and his mother to be these benevolent beings, to be these ultra caring beings? I don't think it is important, at least to Earthlings. Because what do they care about Earth? They don't care about Earth and human beings. Why would they care? They care about their son. They care about Kal-El, absolutely, and that's what's important to them. But they don't care, and they care about Kryptonians. But why would they need to care about Earthlings? Whereas Clark, who was raised among Earthlings, who was raised by Earth parents, who now has the ability to make this choice to say, wow, I've grown up thinking that I'm this one thing, but I'm not. But it's those Earth parents, it's his father and mother, specifically his father, who raised him, who explains to him, look, it's your choices. It's what you decide. That is who you are. It's not what they tell you. It's what you decide. We raised you the best that we could raise you, but at some point we got to let you go. And it's your decisions is what makes you who you are. And that is the beauty of this movie and of who Superman is. So people can sit there and get mad about this idea and change, but it doesn't ruin anything. It heightens who Superman is. And that's the beautiful part about it.
It's pretty pathetic if you're offended by it.
No, yeah, basically. Absolutely. But yeah, there's that. I mean, if you guys want to, comment about it, if you don't agree with me, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you want to add to it, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you want to add to it. So let me know. What are you guys saying over here in the comments? I did say not Critic Chris, Movie Talk Now rips his shirt off like it's Hulk Hogan's birthday. Slav is live. Yes. What's going on, Movie Talk? Glad to see you. Dre Bell said, did anyone see the Ray William Johnson situation? I did not. I did not.
Me neither.
Let's see. Jalen Harris. This is why comic book fandom is in the toilet. We can't have normal reactions that go too far. Media literacy is dead, says Donovan Martin. Trayvon says, if anything, James Gunn just pantsed all those who claim to be Superman fans, yet took issue with something that has been part of Superman's lore since at least the 80s. Yes. Yeah. Donovan says, my gripe with BVS was not about understanding and grasping it, but the execution was hideous, if anything. And that film proved to me that Zack did not just understand Superman's core and aspects as a whole.
That's fair.
Critic Chris, Man of Steel 2 and a solo Batman should have come before BVS, in my opinion. I agree.
I agree on that. But it's in the past now.
It is. It is. The Watcher, what's up? Just imagine the Earth X Man probably did follow through with his Kryptonian heritage. Interesting. It is possible. Maybe not the Earth X, but another Earth. There's probably another Earth where he did. Critic Chris, thing I didn't like about Snyder's films is overuse of slow-mo scenes. MCU had films with scenes as such, but they didn't drag. Donovan says this entire non-controversy, I'm guessing, really showed how much society is illiterate or just flat out ignorant. Nope, we said that already. Movie Talk Now. Critic Chris, Critic Chris, you're like a celebrity now. Because you're talking about the live stream the other day. Donovan says the theme of nature versus nurture is so in your face and people didn't catch on to this. We are screwed as a society. Yeah. Hunter Iggy, did you see or hear that Angry Badger channel called Supergirl character Horde because she showed up drunk in Superman movie? No, I didn't see that, but that's ridiculous.
That's funny.
Look, I've hung out with the Angry Badger on a couple streams. He seems like an okay guy, but he definitely has his issues with most comic book movies nowadays. So I'm not surprised. I'm not. The Watcher says Nolan and Zack films were always meant to be Elseworld films, but people treated them like mainline, and that what really did damage because people for the longest time thought that these bleak versions are what the characters are, and when they're not. Well, that's partially Warner Brothers' fault because they took those films and started streamlining them as the main continuity. That's partially their fault. The Watcher says, technically speaking, Jor-El was supposed to be God allegory, so yes, he should be present as good, but if he's just the dad version like the original comics, then yeah, it makes sense how Gunn did it. Randula says, is Superman showing up in Peacemaker? Interesting. You should bring that up. We'll get to
Maybe we
that
should
in
bring
a
up
second.
the next topic. Yeah.
Happy 3D Model says, I did not like the part where when Superman snaps Zod's neck. That is not Superman.
That's a lot. That's a valid comment.
Yeah, it is. It is a valid comment. All right, let's get back into the topics.
Topics, yes, sir.
All right. James Gunn on If the Man of Tomorrow script cover teases Brainiac. Why is it not showing? Come on, there we go. He says, listen, and this is coming from Entertainment Weekly. He says, listen, of course I wasn't unaware that when I posted the cover of the script that there was going to be discussions around that particular topic. But I think we'll hold off from what exactly is happening.
So he's confirming it's Brainiac.
Is he confirming it's Brainiac? No. Is he not? Is he confirming that it's not Brainiac? No. But he's having a little fun. And I basically said that last week. He's having fun. Like he is in this mode right now where it's just he is so laid back and relaxed that he's able to have fun again and just really get moving with all of this. Like he's just I'm writing. Maybe I said it earlier this week. He's just writing. He's doing things. He's in the fold. He's excited. And he's having fun.
And this is what we needed for the longest time.
Well, exactly. It's what we need, and let him do it. Let him have fun. Let him tease in the way he wants to tease. Let him go about it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be people are gonna love what comes out of it. It's gonna be great.
Right.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. Movie Talk Now says, are you guys seeing a hype button for Slav's live video? I'm not seeing it. I have not seen hype videos for anybody's videos. I know that it's supposed to be like if you have over 1,000 subscribers, which I know I have, but I've gone on other people's videos and things like that. I've yet to see a hype button. I cannot find them. I know somebody hyped up one of my videos because I got like a notification. So one of my videos had hype available, but those hype, there's some new things that YouTube is doing recently that I just have no idea, like if it's working. So I don't know. But anyways, back to the topic. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting, but this isn't the only thing that he talked that came out today that he was talking about. He also talked about, this wasn't today, this was the other day. He teased that Maria Gabriela de Fiera is going to return as the engineer in The Man of Tomorrow. He said, where does she go? Well, you're going to have to find that out in the next movie. That doesn't necessarily mean the next movie being Man of Tomorrow, just the next movie that she'll be in. But it's almost kind of guaranteed that she'll probably pop up because of her connection with Lex. I wouldn't be surprised if she's how Lex gets broken out of prison, if he gets broken out of prison or something like that. That would be an interesting way to go. But yeah, I think that, there's a good possibility that she shows up in Man of Tomorrow. Maybe she's one of the ones that pops up in Peacemaker. Who knows? I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with her for sure. I see a lot of comments coming through saying my name directly. I will get to the comments here in a second. Don't worry. And let's see here. I'm going to star that so I know where to start from. And then James Gunn says G.I. Robot is coming into live action. Not necessarily in Peacemaker season 2, though. That was also from Entertainment Weekly. Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting for sure, because people were very sure, like, oh, G.I. Robot with the Nazis and things like that. You have to bring G.I. Robot into it, right? Maybe not. Maybe we don't see him. Maybe we do see him. I think it would be cool to see him, especially in this alternate dimension where there's all these Nazis. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but I don't know. It might be a little too costly for Peacemaker to bring him in. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is something that they could do?
It might be too early for it.
Do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would at least wait. I mean, it makes sense, but I think it's still too early to bring him in.
Probably right. You were probably right on that. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about that James Gunn brings up is he has confirmed, apparently, that David Cornsweet will not appear in Peacemaker Season 2. He says, in
cancel the
fact,
season.
David was very upset that Nick got to be on the show and he didn't. It just didn't work. And this is via Variety.com.
Can't believe
Now,
it. Can't watch the rest of the season now, Slav. Superman's not in it.
do we
Can't watch the
believe
rest of the
this?
season.
Do we believe this? Is this something that we believe? Do we really believe that he's going to just spoil this and say, no, Superman's not in it? Because he doesn't typically do that. Like, he doesn't say yes or no to a character being in the show or not. Like, he's never done that before. He's never said that a character is or isn't there. So to me, that's kind of shocking that he just flat out says, no, Superman's not in it. Couldn't work out. Didn't work out. He's not there. Like, that to me, I'm kind of like, wow. He really just said no. Maybe he just doesn't want people's expectations to be too high.
Right.
Maybe. Now, remember, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he say that there is a big cameo at the end of the season? So if that's what his comment was, then Lex Luthor wasn't the big cameo.
I heard rumors of what the cameo could be.
So,
I don't know.
I mean, that's. Well, again, I'm sure there's some people out there who know what the cameo is, but not a lot of people.
I'm pretty sure what it is. I know what it is, but I don't know if you've seen it.
Not a lot of people know, I'm sure, because how can they know? Because he hasn't shown it to anybody, many people.
Right.
So, let me see something here.
I mean, I kind of have. I mean, it's a rumor, but I might have an idea who it is.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to confirm it or not.
I mean, you don't need to confirm. I mean, if you think it's like more than 95% possible, maybe not say it, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can always send it to me in a message. I don't care, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
For everybody,
yeah. But yeah, I just think it's interesting for sure. But let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think about all this stuff that James Gunn has said in regards to all of these characters, all of these people popping up in various projects?
I just want my Lanterns trailer.
From Brainiac to the Engineer to G.I. Robot to Superman, all these characters who could potentially show up in Man of Tomorrow and Peacemaker and Lanterns and anything like
Supergirl.
What do you Supergirl even? Yeah. Like, what do you think about all this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Clayface.
Yeah, Superman's in Clayface. You heard it here, confirmed. Let's see. Dre Bell says Ray William Johnson went through real defamation, not like Johnny Dome or Chris. That's disappointing. Happy 3D model. I did not like the part when Superman. Oh, we saw that already. We read that already.
Yeah.
I went too far up. Man of Steel convinced. Trayvon's still on the Mongol train. Maybe talking now about the hype button. Donovan says, I'm now leaning towards Manchester Black because his powers are telekinesis. And remember in the animated movie, Superman gave him instant lobotomy, and that character would work. Wait, that's not lobotomy. What is that? I don't know if that's what you're trying to say. That character will work from a thematic standing. Maybe. Critic Chris says, I feel to take on Mongol, Superman should team up with another hero if taken to War World. Yeah, I still don't see it being Mongol. I don't.
I wish it was Mongol.
Donovan says, with the world being dark and cynical, Black would be a perfect exploration of this theme. It could be.
I would love Mongol.
Yeah. Not. I don't think yet, though.
Yeah, not yet, but like getting them though, at least finally in live action would be sweet.
Dre Bell said Ray William Johnson went through a real defamation, fake daughter. Interesting. And Donovan says, also with Engineer returning, cough, Authority, cough. Donovan says, "Damn it, we need him more than ever. GI, please help us." Yeah, we definitely do need GI Robot now. The Watcher, Gunn will most likely introduce charting characters in Peacemaker. I mean, yeah, you got what, the Atom. You got not the Atom. Yeah, the Atom.
You just spoiled it.
What else is there? There's wow, I can't think of the names of them right now. I could picture them. Guy with the hat. I can't think of names, but yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Maybe he does. I don't know. Movie talk now. Do you guys think season 2 of Peacemaker will be announced? Season 3, you mean? Before the show's over, Creature Commando season 2 was announced quick. I don't think it'll be announced before season 2 is over, but I think it'll be announced shortly thereafter.
Yeah,
for sure. But
there's still a lot of projects coming up that
he does have a lot of projects coming up. Here's the thing: does he have a story in mind for it? If he has a story in mind, I think it's a no-brainer that they're going to announce it. Yeah, I guarantee it's going to be something like it ends. He's got Man of Tomorrow already on the coming up, and if he has a story, if Peacemaker makes it out of Man of Tomorrow, like if he's part of that and he makes it out of that, then I guarantee James Gunn wants to jump back into it. Maybe he starts writing it before, maybe he writes it before he gets into Man of Tomorrow, and then Man of Tomorrow, while that's filming, they film the next piece. Who knows? Because remember, he typically only directs like 2 or 3 episodes of Peacemaker anyways. So it'll be interesting for sure. The Watcher, GI Robot will very likely be in Sergeant Rock in live action first. Probably, yeah. Donovan says, imagine if Gunn is bullshitting us. Probably is, for sure. Happy 3D model. It would be great to see GI Robot in live action. I agree. Donovan says, I don't buy it. Donovan says, lies. Hunter Iggy, there are theory that Sacha Bordeaux is a spy for Lex or Bruce Wayne. Interesting you bring that up. I will have a little theory myself on that. Then we'll get into some of my theories here in a little bit for Peacemaker. Dre Bell, what if Earth X GI killed non-Nazis because he is just programmed? That's interesting. I don't think we'll see an Earth X GI, though. I don't. Watcher says Gunn might be downplaying the Superman not in Peacemaker thing. He could be. Very well could be. I always say, when he's talking about projects, if he says that it's not going to be there, he's saying it because he's trying to, he says no, or it's not happening, or they haven't cast somebody or something like that, but it actually has happened. It's not that he's lying to be an asshole. He's lying because he wants to save the excitement for the fans. I say that all the time. Happy 3D says, James might be playing with us. The Watcher says, but he could be straight telling the truth as well. Very true. Movie Talk Now says, maybe Batman's silhouette will be the end cameo. Maybe. Patrick Ollinger is in here, says, hello. Hello. Movie Talk Now. Titans Season 1 finale showed you could have full Batman fights without showing the face. That is true as well. Watcher says, rumors were saying Huntress, Captain Atom, and or Blue Beetle would possibly appear. Blue Beetle's another Charlton's comic one. Yeah, there you go. In there. Bloodsport says, Drebel. Happy 3D says, I'm excited for the Lantern show next year, as am I. Watcher says, Mongol is a JL villain. Save that for JL movie. And look, I agree that there's, like Mongol is a JL villain, and absolutely, there's villains that are Justice League villains, but that doesn't mean that you can't put them in like a Superman movie or a minor team up movie to build them up to being that Justice League villain. Like I always go back to how they utilized Loki in the Thor movie, because it was really well done. You utilized Loki as a low-level villain in a movie like Thor, and then he becomes the main villain of an Avengers film, which worked out really, really well. And you could do a similar thing with villains in DC, and you can do that all the time. I don't know why Marvel stopped doing that. Like they just stopped. Like they could continue doing that kind of stuff, but they stopped. They got so dead set on getting to Thanos, and then they got to Thanos, and then they stopped making Avengers movies. And it's like, no, you can still do Avengers movies. Just make a compelling villain with an Ant-Man movie or a Captain Marvel movie or something, and then make that villain just too badass, and then you have to have the Avengers take them on. Like, you can still do that kind of stuff. You can do the same thing in the DCU with the Justice League. Jalen says, so Supergirl trailer at New York Comic Con. They are not going to New York Comic Con, or even Lanterns. They're not going to New York Comic Con. James Gunn confirmed that. Donovan says, from that script pick, Mongol is the farthest thing from happening. Randall, we need that Red Lanterns to show up in the Lantern show. We need not that.
Isn't Mongol like War World or something like that?
He's War World. I don't think they're doing that. Definitely not.
Imagine that in live action, though, dude. Come on now.
Jalen says, like, when's go time to start getting major DC news for other projects? I think it's just going to kind of trickle out here and there. Oh boy, so many comments. Randola says, I think Gunn should be done with Peacemaker. He needs to focus on bigger projects. I think what he should do is keep writing it, and I think he should, if he feels like it, he has a story to tell, keep writing it, because I do think that Peacemaker is one of his best projects from season 1 to season 2. I think up and down from the writing and just the heart that it brings, I think it's one of his best projects. So if he has a story to tell, absolutely write it, but he doesn't need to be involved from start to finish. He can write it, he can maybe direct a couple episodes, but let other people take over. He's built a solid crew that has worked on 2 seasons with it that know what he's doing. So he can have his input on maybe the music, on the opening sequence, that kind of stuff, but he can work on other things while they're doing that for sure. Happy 3D says, I'm excited to see Lobo and Supergirl. Same. Movie Talk now says, do you think a crossover with the MCU is more likely or MonsterVerse since it's under Warner Brothers umbrella and there's a comic precedent? I think definitely not a MonsterVerse. Not with the DCU, and I'll say not with the DCU in the next 20 years. maybe, I won't say 20 years. Not in the next 10 years. I'll go that route. There's just really no reason to do it. It would screw up the DCU, I think. There's really no reason to do it. The MCU, here's the thing. When it comes to the MCU, yeah, they're kind of wrapping up their multiverse story for sure. And DCU is kind of in the middle of a multiversal story. That doesn't mean that neither one can revisit it down the line. So it's a possibility that, say, in 5-6 years, when the DCU is fully established, has a great cast of characters, MCU has done their soft reboot and has their X-Men and their new cast of characters, I think it's a possibility then, especially if Kevin Feige is still at Marvel and James Gunn is still at DC. I think it's a possibility. I don't think it would be a huge crossover. I think it would be maybe like a 2-film crossover, one for each studio. But yeah, I think it's that's more of a possibility for sure. All right. You still there, Derpy, or did you leave? Did you fall asleep?
No, I'm here.
You're there. All right. Before we get into the Peacemaker talk, there's one other story or topic I want to talk about here. And that is, where is the share button? There it is. Superman 2025 proves that James Gunn knows what he is doing. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but people are claiming that the numbers that Superman has gotten, whether it's the box office or the critic and audience scores or the streaming numbers or the digital streaming numbers or the HBO Max numbers, whatever you want to call it, They're claiming that all this information is terrible, that it's just not good at all. But they're wrong. They're just flat out wrong.
Anybody
They're
that's realized
trying.
is a miserable person.
They're trying. Well, that's the thing. They're trying to make it seem like this film failed in so
It
many
didn't.
different ways, but it didn't. It didn't fail. It has been a huge success. So let's not forget that DC was on crazy shaky ground, prior to the DCU.
Yes, it
Flash
was.
was bad, Black Adam, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, and Shazam, and everything before that was just shaky ground. It just was. When Superman came out, it came out with high praise. In 2025, these are the scores for the 2025 films when it comes to Thunderbolt / New Avengers, Fantastic Four, your Captain America. These are your scores. And no, it's not at the top. It's not at the top. Fantastic Four had better scores across the board. So did Thunderbolts. But it's up there. It's got your certified fresh. It's got your top popcorn meter. It's up there. It's scored at the top with that. It did exactly what it needed to do with audiences and critics. All right. So that right there proves it did what it needed to do in that regard. But then theatrically, it smashed expectations, especially domestically, scoring, as of last week, scored over $354 million domestically. $354 million domestically. That's the highest domestic take for a DC film since The Batman. Worldwide total, it's over $615 million now. Over $615 million. But Slav, that's not as much as Man of Steel made in 2013. Now, who the hell cares what Man of Steel made in 2013? That was 2013 in the middle of the
12 years ago.
The huge superhero comic book movie boom. Ticket sales from then to now are down 40%. Down 40%. So yes, there's going to be a drastic difference.
Inflation.
Comic book movie sales are down. Nobody goes to comic book movies.
Inflation.
Yes, inflation. But the average comic book movie box office last year was $450 million. The year before that, it was $395 million. Superman has made $615 million. I don't know, if you ask me, that's pretty damn good.
That's pretty good.
Like
the year 2025, that's pretty darn good.
Okay, for 2025, when you see what comic book movies have been doing for the last number of years, that's on the rise. That's showing, hey, people like this movie. Hey, the DCU is moving in the right direction. Critics and fans loved it. Theatrically, it's done better than comic book movies have in the last 2 years. But Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion, Slav. Okay, that is not the average. And yes, Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion. But that was a movie that was 10 years plus in the making, because it had Hugh Jackman, who's been Wolverine for the last 25 years.
Right.
So that movie, people have been anticipating that movie for over a decade at this point. So yes, that movie made $1 billion. Bravo. We all liked it. We all clapped for it. It's all great. But that wasn't the average. That's not the typical comic book movie box office take. People can't understand. They can't grasp that. So we keep going. Digitally. And this is when, I sat there and took a look at this, and I was like, wait a minute. I couldn't believe when I was looking at these numbers, I couldn't believe it. Superman came onto digital platforms on August 15th. That means on August 15th, you could buy it digitally or rent it digitally.
Right.
In just 3 days, about 527,000 U.S. households rented or purchased the movie. It was the biggest paid VOD debut of 2025. Did you hear that?
That says a lot.
Then within 3 weeks, that number climbed to 1.3 million households. I don't know, but
Did man still do that?
I mean, it didn't really have the same, but regardless, that is pretty staggering, if you ask me. Okay. The biggest POV debut of 2025, then climbing to 1.3 million households in 3 weeks. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. You then get the physical, yeah. So that just came out the other day. We obviously don't have the numbers for that. I mean, it just came out, and that's going to take a while for those numbers to really, really get out there. Okay.
Right.
But HBO Max also came out recently. I forgot to put that as a headline. HBO Max dropped on September 19th. It immediately became the most watched film on the service for this year.
Oh my!
Roughly 1.3 million U.S. households streamed it in the first 3 days, which was 145% higher than the PVOD debut. Within its first week, Superman was not only Max's #1 trending title, but also one of the strongest streaming launches for any DC film, trailing only 2022's The Batman. You know what it wasn't trailing? Come on. I think some people can figure this out. Remember, this says Superman was not only HBO Max's #1 trending title, but also one of the strongest streaming launches for any DC film. DC film. Think about that. What DC films have come out on streaming in the last 5 years? And it's only trailed one other film. Think about that. What is one film that everybody loves to talk about? Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League was behind Superman in streaming on HBO Max.
Oh,
so
it's the end of the world.
When we sit here and talk about this, and people want to sit there and try and say that Superman was not successful, that it isn't successful, that it's not doing what the studio needs, it's not doing what DC needs, they're talking out of their ass, because it has, and it's continuing to do what it needs. It's continuing to do better. It's continuing to get, eyes on it. It's continuing to get people excited. And that's what's exciting. And that's why Man of Tomorrow is being made. That's why people know that we're going to get more and more DC content coming. The people who sit there and say, well, James Gunn's DCU is dead in the water. James Gunn's DCU is going to end soon. It's not. It's not. This movie was massively successful. For 2025, when people have lost interest in comic book movies, don't go to the movies anymore, like, it's proving that people were interested in this movie and like it because they've bought it. They're watching it over and over again on streaming. What else can you say? Like, you can't say anything else against it. You can't. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Love to hear what you have to say, because we all know specifically one person who just made a video and posted it just today saying, this is despicable, this is horrible, it's atrocious, it's terrible, real big across his thumbnail, like he always does.
Sounds like a miserable person to me, Slav.
Yeah, really miserable. Be a shame if somebody made a whole 3-hour video about, or 3-hour live video about them. Anyways, let's see what everybody else has to say, and we're going to start talking Peacemaker here in a minute. Donovan says, Sean just posted an idiotic post on YouTube community that for some reason it's not okay for Lex to curse in an R-rated DC project and accuse Gunn for disrespecting. Oh, man. Yeah, whatever.
Sean who?
Yeah. Sean O'Rourke. Patrick says, I hope we see Lana Lang in future Superman movie. That'd be interesting to see for sure. That would be cool. Jalen says, plus too much Marvel content has to be a factor. Too much of one thing can hurt a fandom. That's true. Dre Bell says, they seem to say because Superman tickets were more expensive, it should have done better. Without thinking cheaper sometimes mean it is easier to buy the tickets, so more tickets can be sold. I mean, you're not wrong on that. I know what you're trying to say here. But you can also take a look at a whole bunch of factors. There's so many different factors that go into all of this. Take a look what Superman was up against. You know, you have the Fantastic Four, you have Jurassic World, you have so many things that were around Superman. Go look at Man of Steel in 2013. It literally had no competition, like about 4 to 6 weeks before it and 4 to 6 weeks after it. There was like no competition for it. So you have that as well. But they don't look at those kind of stats. They don't. But whatever. Dre Bell says, Slav, if you don't know who I am, hint is I'm on vacation. Okay, man. Movie talk now. This might upset some people, and I'm sorry, but Superman is far superior to both Rebel Moon 1 and Part 2. I mean, honestly, you can pull a nut hair off of your ball sack and put it on a TV screen, and that's far superior than Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2. But you know, that's just
Rebel Moon is just softcore fantasy.
Critic Chris says to claim 25 Superman flopped is claiming Batman Begins is a flop. It outgrossed Batman Begins total gross both domestically and internationally.
Yep. Yeah.
Dre Bell says Aaron was even in the live and left without a defense. I was his defense. Remember, he said Slav knows. Ask Slav. He kept saying ask Slav. He knows. That was his defense.
Aaron Fisher. Oh, well.
Rio Anarchy says no one is going to fight him on this. Rebel Moon was horrid. Story-wise. You're right, Rio. Thanks, man, for stopping by.
There's the goat. Rio Anarchy. Let's go.
All right. Let's get into Peacemaker. Peacemaker open discussion. Let's get into it here. All right. So that episode, let me tell you.
We all knew it.
Oh boy. Look, I know I was funny because I jumped on after I watched it last night. I jumped on Twitter and I just saw so many posts of people saying, I called it. It's like, yeah, we all did.
We all did. Yeah.
We all called it. Like we all called it. I even saw some people on TikTok saying, oh, I called it. And then they like played a video of themselves talking about things. And like 90% of what they said was completely wrong. But the one thing they said that was right, they're like, see, I called it. Like, bro. But whatever. It's no big deal. Everybody's excited, you know, like that's the thing. And when you can get excited about this stuff, when you can get excited about this stuff, that is the joy of the DCU and of watching it more and continuing to watch it and things like that. That's what I really like, and that's what I think is fun with the DCU that we haven't been missing for so long. But I mean, this episode starts off very interestingly. Yeah. You know, it's with where they're sitting at the diner. It's Peacemaker, his father, his brother, and Harcourt too, at a diner.
Dimension.
And yeah, the other dimension, and they're sitting there talking after they defeated the kaiju, and some kid wants to take a picture, and you know they're all just having a good time.
Yep.
And then their faces like warp after they take the picture. It's really bizarre. It does the opening credits, but look, I gotta say, when they get into the whole bit with Vigilante's house and his mother, I laughed so hard. Like that was so hilarious with him and his mom, especially when she starts talking about Harcourt and how he was lying about Harcourt being his girlfriend. And then I guess he told her that they broke up because she was a slut. And like, it was just so ridiculous, but so funny. You know, it was so like, so uncomfortable. Like it was even uncomfortable to watch, like just seeing how uncomfortable, like it was done so well, but it was great.
And that's and this one was directed by James Gunn. So I mean,
it was directed by James Gunn, which you can definitely tell when James Gunn is directing an episode. You can definitely tell.
Yeah.
Now, when they get into Vigilante's secret room with all the cash and drugs there,
Yeah.
and he's like, I can't give it to the police because I can't trust them. So I just bring it here. What am I supposed to do with it?
Flush it away or something.
Economos and Adebayo and Harcourt just
Start taking out.
it.
Yep. Same here. Same here. I would do the same thing.
I was like, that's great. That's just hilarious. Like, I would have done the same thing. But
Exactly, with all that stuff, with all that amount, I would do the same thing for sure.
yeah, it was perfect. But you then get into the they opened the door. Now, the one thing I did kind of find annoying is when Adebayo opened the portal, it did not have as big of a boom as it did earlier in the season when Chris did it at the cabin.
Right.
I was like, I was expecting a
Huh.
larger bang. But
Right.
it's all right. But then they
It's
get
all
the
right, just
coke
a
all
nitpick.
over him. The drugs get all over him.
Yeah.
And when that happened, when that happened, they were starting to wipe all the drugs off of him as they went into the QUC. And I don't know if you noticed this, but like it was like they started wiping it off, and then like a minute later, it was like almost all off of them.
Yeah, the editing.
I was like, well, they got that off real quick. That was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But I liked how they just dove right into it. They just got, they went there, they got into the other dimension really quick, which was nice. But let's really get into it though, because they get in there, they notice the new house. They're like, oh, this is why he's going to be there. Harcourt's, they're looking in Chris's room, and Keith walks in, and Harcourt does the funny thing, closes the door real quick on Economos and goes, I just took a shit in there. What? All right. Keith is just like, what are you talking about? That whole scene though, while she did great with that, and the awkwardness there was completely made by Vigilante in the closet messing with Peacemaker's clothes, like trying on the hat and messing with the clothes.
I
and
know.
stuff like I think it was hilarious. Now when Harcourt goes with Keith to Argus, she starts to realize something's not right. Like something's weird about this place, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. Like you could tell, because she's smart. Like she's like, something's off, but she couldn't tell, and he's talking about the music and how the Beatles are spelled differently. And he doesn't talk about that. The Beatles are spelled differently, but they have a different lead singer, with Mick Jagger as a lead singer, not John Lennon, all that kind of stuff, which is funny. So they get to Argus, but she still has some coke on her, so the dogs freak out. She gets put into a holding cell just as Peacemaker arrives. That whole scene between Peacemaker and Harcourt there in the holding cell, that might be the scene of the season. Because we've seen now this is the third scene that those two, maybe the fourth scene, that's the fourth scene. That's the fourth scene those two had together this season, one-on-one, that they talk about their feelings in a way. We had one in the first episode when they were in Harcourt's house. We then had one on the rooftop when they all got together for the party. We then had the one in the park before he got arrested, and then we had this one. This one, though, was so fantastic. So fantastic.
It was acted out pretty well.
Both Cena and Holland, like, their acting was phenomenal. You could tell the pain that Jennifer Holland, Harcourt had. You could tell, like, when she was like, what'd she say? Like, I'm a mess or whatever.
Yep.
And he goes, I still love you, or I love you still, or whatever he said.
She says, I know.
Like, she just, like, for her, it was at that moment, I think she realized that she loved him. But there was so much, though, throughout that. Like, she's pushing him away, trying to push him away, because she does love him. She does have feelings for him. She's trying to push him away because she doesn't want to have these feelings for him. She doesn't want to. Keeps pushing him away. And it's at that moment when he says that she realizes herself, like, crap, I love him too. But she can't say it. And then the next thing she says, so are you coming back with us? And it's like, come on, like just say, like, if you would just say, I love you too, or he's coming back, like he's with you, but she just
Right.
can't do it. And it's just one of those, like, James Gunn, like I see this all the time. James Gunn just writes so well. Such a fantastic writer, especially when it comes to those heartfelt moments. And that is one of those scenes that he does so well. So well. So after that, they're walking out, and this is where the shit starts to hit the fan, because Adebayo and Economos were sitting at the Peacemaker's dad's house. Vigilante went off on his own because he was like, I'm going to go find my doppelganger, essentially. My version, this dimension's version of me, which was all funny in itself, because he gets to the house and he sees all the things set up just slightly differently, and he's laughing about all of it. I will say, this is the first time watching Vigilante where I sat there and said, holy crap, this is a better version of Deadpool. This episode was the first time where I watched him and said to myself, like I was watching, I said, he's a better Deadpool. 100%. Because of just his whole interaction while he was walking down the street, when he got to his house, when he walked in the house, he's walking around, looking at things, just having that conversation with himself, looked at the Cheerios and goes, it's spelled differently. This is mine. I'm taking this. And things like that. Like every little thing that he did through that whole, and then he saw his mom and goes, my dad's not gay here. And he just kept walking. Like all of that was just like, that is Deadpool, but better. And I really appreciated it. Like I thought it was great. But then he has the conversation with himself down there in his secret room down there. And they're just like, just two peas in a pod. They're the same exact person. You're having their conversation. It's great. It's fun. But they get to that question and, who's your best friend? And he goes, Peacemaker. And he goes, Peacemaker? I hate Peacemaker. And he's my arch enemy or whatever, arch nemesis. And then that's when everything starts to fall apart.
Yep.
And the real Harcourt from that dimension shows up at Argus. He finds out that Peacemaker isn't a good person there. You find out that the vigilante there is the head of the Sons of
Liberty, and
Liberty,
like the Resistance.
Yeah, he's like the Resistance. And then Adebayo decides to go for a walk because she's cooped up in the house, doesn't want to be there. Economist is like, I'm not leaving the house. I'm going to stick here. But as he's staying at the house, Augie Smith comes walking in, and he hides down below the counter. And then he tries to move out of the kitchen, but Augie Smith sees him, throws a can at him, and they get into a little tussle. He gets stabbed in the hand, and then because Economos is Economos, he tells Augie Smith everything. While Adebayo's walking down the street, she's seeing all these people look at her. People driving by, a bunch of white people looking at her. And then all of a sudden, Keith drives by, stops his truck, gets out, and goes, "One got out, a black," and screams it and honks the horn. And all of a sudden, the entire neighborhood starts chasing her down the road. Where she goes, "What the fuck?" And everybody starts chasing her.
Yeah. And that was the moment. And that was the moment when
Peacemaker at Argus unrolls one of the flags on the desk and reveals a swastika on one of the flags. Yeah. So, and then Harcourt from that dimension says, arrest them or arrest her, or whatever. They're not from here, whatever, however she says it. And then all shit breaks loose, and it's a cliffhanger until next episode. So the episode was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Oh, I forgot the big part. I forgot the
the big part. Yes,
Rick Flag Sr., who freaks out at Flurry because Flurry comes into his office like, "Hey, we can't find anybody. Harcourt's gone. Everybody's gone. Blah blah blah." And Rick Flag's freaking out like, "I can't find anybody. I got to think." So he calls up Belle Reve and says, "I'm coming to Belle Reve. I need to meet with a prisoner." He goes to Belle Reve and he meets with Lex Luthor. He talks to Lex, and basically he wants help from Lex in accessing a portal to get to basically wherever Peacemaker is. But Lex wants a deal. It moves him to what's the
I
other?
forget it was Van Kroll, I think.
Yeah,
Van
can't
Kroll,
remember. Van Kroll. It's
which
a
is
prison right outside Metropolis,
yeah,
and next week we're probably going to see him work with a couple of Lex Luthor's lackeys to help him open up the portal from the Lex Luthor or Luthor Corp ship or whatever it was, and go from there. So, anyways, yeah, that's that. But again, it was a great episode. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see this all play out like it did. We saw the preview for the next episode. The only thing that I'm worried about is I think we're going to get a major death next episode. I don't think it's going to be Harcourt or Adebayo, Economos. Definitely not going to be Peacemaker. Judo Master seems to be still alive, at least in the previews we've seen. That kind of leaves Vigilante, which is scaring me because I really like Vigilante now, which is crazy to me because I did not like him in season 1.
right.
But season 2, for some reason I'm just like, man, I like Vigilante. so crazy. But yeah, it's good. What did you think of the episode? What did you think?
Well, first off, to me, it started slow, even though it was like a fast, a fast episode, but it was kind of slow, if you know what I mean, in the beginning. But it ended up where I thought it would be, and it rounded up nicely. We all knew it was gonna be this. It was gonna be Earth X. We all knew once, like halfway through it.
Yeah, whether it's
Vigilant
actually
revealed it.
Earth X or just a version similar
Version
to
of
Earth
it.
X, we
Yeah.
all knew. We did. We all knew that's what it was going to end up being. I think we all knew that it was leading to when because he mentioned Belle Reeve earlier in the season.
Right.
Rick
Right.
Flag Sr. did. And I think a lot of people knew that eventually it was going to be Lex Luthor that he was going to meet
Right.
with. So that was kind of another, like, it was great. Like when he was walking, like when he got to Belle Reeve, immediately I heard Lex Luthor's theme playing. I was like, it's Lex. It's Lex. So that was exciting. And then, yeah.
So
So
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
10 years ago, if I had to ask you 10 years ago, we were getting Earth X or a version of Earth X in the live action, would you think I'm crazy?
Yes. Because here's the thing. The only person crazy enough to do something like this is James Gunn.
Exactly.
Like, he's the only one crazy enough to do anything like this. And that's why I'm so excited for DCU content, because he will do crazy things like this.
And that's why he's perfect for it, because DC's like that.
Exactly.
They have crazy moments like that, and crazy comics like that, and crazy characters like that.
Yeah. Exactly. What are people saying over there? Dre Bell said, right when you said I just took a shit in there, for some reason thought of the fake toilet scene in Teen Titans Go to the movies.
I did not like Teen Titans Go, man. I hate
Happy 3D Model says episode 6 is my favorite so far. It is a great episode.
Episode 3 was my favorite until this one, yeah.
Chris, it reminded me of Shallow Hal. Looks like a clinger from MASH. Jabel says, Aaron says Paramount can't afford Warner Brothers without knowing who the Skydance CEO is. The son of richest man in the world. Let's see. Movie Talk Now. James Gunn is right. Cena acting has improved tremendously. We are so lucky. Yeah, it has. It's been fantastic.
Eating, my friend.
All right. I do have some crazy theories that I decided to make. That's
a lot of theories, my friend.
Yeah, I kind of made them short. So, theory number 1 is that Peacemaker is going to have to kill Keith, but in doing so injures Harcourt too, which I think we'll see Rick Flag Jr. again, and we'll send him into a rage.
Yep.
Theory number 2, Rick Flag Jr. 2 will be killed by Harcourt 1 as she is saving / protecting Peacemaker. Rick Flag Sr. will see it. So, like, to me, like, think about just the mental gymnastics and craziness that will happen. So Peacemaker has to kill his brother again, This time he has to kill him because the first time he didn't have to. This time he has to kill his brother. Now
Right.
Harcourt has to kill Rick Flag Jr. in saving the man that she actually loves. That's going to mess with her head. Rick Flag Sr. seeing it is going to just screw with his head. Like, James Gunn would be stupid not to make these crazy circumstances happen if he can make them happen. Like, it just should happen.
I'm
One's a
pretty
little
sure what happened though.
This one's a little lame. Bordeaux makes a comment about how working in Gotham and dealing with the Bat was never this crazy.
That's kind of weak.
But I just think it would be a nice little Batman reference. That's all.
Right.
She's the only person that can really give a Batman reference here. Okay. And I want a Batman reference.
You're right.
Rick Flag Sr. is now driven by more anger and rage towards Peacemaker and the 11th Street Kids and declares all of them threats to America. 11th Street Kids are all taken to prison by end of the season. Lex and Superman will be the only through line we see lead into Man of Tomorrow. The greater connection will be shown in the movie. And what I mean by that is everybody seems to have this thought that we're going to see the connection to the villain. So Brainiac or whoever the villain's going to be for Man of Tomorrow and Peacemaker. I don't think we are. I think that what's going to happen is Lex is the main through line. We're going to see Lex get put into this other prison. I know James Gunn says we're not going to see Superman, but maybe we see Superman and maybe we see Superman and Lex together in here. Maybe, I don't know, but we're going to see something. The through line in this show is just that. The connection to Peacemaker isn't going to be shown until Man of Tomorrow. That's what I think is going to happen. Like the beginning of Man of Tomorrow is going to show, if it's Brainiac, that he was picking up these signals of all these portals opening up crazily on Earth. And he's going to be like, what is all this? I'm going to go see what this is all about. Like something like that. That's my only real thought about it. I don't think we're going to see or know who the villain is by the end of this season. I don't think so. And then my final theory is Peacemaker has to kill his brother because of him killing Vigilante. So I think, going back to my first theory where Peacemaker has to kill Keith, he has to kill Keith, or he goes to kill Keith because Keith is the one that actually kills Vigilante, and Vigilante, who has become his best friend or like a brother to him in this current, in his current world. That's why he goes after to kill Keith. So those are my theories. What do you think about them? Do you think they're good? Do you think they suck? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have any theories?
I don't have a theory, but I have a gut feeling, if that counts.
Sure.
I have a gut feeling of a character showing up.
Go for it.
Booster Gold.
Booster Gold. I mean, a lot of people have been speculating that could possibly happen. I know some people want it to happen. I don't know if it will. I still think we might see a Blue Beetle. I don't know. Like,
I mean, I know one, like it was already mentioned earlier, but the other character I heard was Huntress.
Huntress, yeah, that was something that was mentioned. I don't know, man. There's a part of me that just thinks that a lot of these rumors are just created by people just to get some
clickbaits, yeah,
clicks and things like that. I personally think it's just gonna. I just
got a gut feeling Booster Gold will show up. I don't know what I have. I don't know why it is, but I just have a gut feeling he'll show up.
Maybe. I don't know. Like James Gunn, the only thing that has me is James Gunn says a big cameo. Was he talking about Lex? I swear he said that it was in the final episode that this big cameo.
Yeah, the big cameo was the final episode, I believe.
So if that's the case, if that's true, it can't be Lex because we got Lex already.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be a new character, but
or
the only new character that would be big. I mean, I don't even know because again, it's not going to be Batman. It's not. It's not going to be. He says it's not Superman, although maybe it is Superman. Maybe he just is fooling us all and saying it's not. I don't know. I really don't know. Dre Bell says, not talking about the Teen Titans Go show. I mean, the theatrical movie. People that hate the show actually liked. I actually did like the Teen Titans Go to the movies. I took my kids to see
My
it. It was
question
hilarious.
is, who's the mysterious ally that Alex has?
What for?
Next episode.
I think-
Flag goes to.
Oh, I think it's just the what's his name with the mustache from the Superman movie. Because I think it's Otis and that guy that ends up
Okay.
helping him. The guy that got pushed away by Mr. Terrific, who was like, "I'll show you how to do it," and he's like, "I don't need your help. I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific."
All right.
You know, that guy. I can't remember what his name is. Because I'm terrible with
Can't
names. I
remember.
tell people this
I
all the
can't
time. I'm
remember
terrible.
either.
Yeah. But
I wish we would have got a Batman cast on Batman Day. Oh well.
yeah, I just was very busy last weekend, and I did post a video. Actually, I did do a stream on Batman Day. We
You
did do a
did.
stream.
Yeah, we did. I was
Yeah.
on here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did. All right. Well, I think that's all we got, isn't it? Thank you, everybody,
Yeah,
for
it was kind of a slow, somewhat of slow news
slow
week.
week. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
too much. Not too much to talk about. Monday I will have my normal / Free Talk podcast, so
Yeah.
look out for that. So I will be back then Monday. Next week I will have a Watchtower. Everything I think is going as planned the next couple weeks. I think we're good.
I just want my
So-
Lanterns trailer.
Yeah, we need to get a Lanterns trailer. I want to see something from Lanterns terribly, terribly bad.
It's kind
But
of
yeah,
interesting how that connects to Peacemaker and after this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
Mhm.
that's going to necessarily connect to
Connect,
Peacemaker.
Yeah, but like how it connects to the DCU, I guess.
Yeah. Chris says, nice stream, Slav and Derpy. Night, everyone. Night, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, guys, with all that said, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe. Derpy, where can everybody find you?
And they can find me on Instagram, Dirtman2929, Twitter, Dirtman2929, Twitch, Derpy Entertainment, Kick, Random Derpster, and YouTube Derpy Entertainment.
Awesome.
And then I do another pod every Sunday night at 9. The Average
And
Boys.
then obviously you can find me on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube, on all that stuff. So you can find me there. Do a show Mondays and Fridays currently on YouTube. And then you can follow me on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and things like that. So if you want to listen to me on your drive to and from work, you can do that as well. Or while you're jogging, or what am I kidding? No, but none of us here jog. Jogging's for losers, right? Just kidding.
maybe Aaron Fisher needs a jog off the 12-year pain.
But all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. And with all that said, I'll catch you all later.